Don't know when my nights became so complicated. Can't recall my mornings, everything is faded. Maybe this is karma, definition of jaded. This stays on my mind, this stays on my mind. Trying to put
7 of the Copyright Act 1976, allowance is made for fair use for purposes such as criticism, comment, news reporting, scholarship, and research. Fair use is a use permitted by copyright statute that might otherwise be infringing. Non-profit, educational, or personal use tips the balance in favor of fair use.
Hey guys, welcome to my channel and welcome to another video. I just wanted to take a moment and say hi again. I have not been live on this channel for quite some time. I have not really done a lot to develop this channel. My serious subjects with commentary. As you guys know, those of you who do know, I do have a main channel, Just Me CNB Reactions. You see it right there on the screen. I primarily do videos over there. We talk about mommy content primarily, and we're kind of niched in with mommies and certain mommies. So I've made a decision to start going live here on this channel. It'll be more of a broader conversation. You guys can send in things that you would like us to cover, as well as, like I said, we'll be more generalized on what we talk about. Today, we are going to be talking about the food stamp conversation, the controversy behind it. This is November 2025, as you all know. So we are sitting here watching history unfold, and we are watching it unfold into a situation to where millions of people who rely on SNAP benefits to feed their families aren't being able to do so. They're not being able to not only feed their families, they're not getting the benefits that they deserve. They are not getting the food stamps. Our government has been shut down. I believe it's 34 days now. And with that 34 days, that means that there are no food stamps being given out because there are no funds for it. A lot of government employees have been out of work. And you know how that goes. One side of the government is blaming the other, and vice versa. Um, quite frankly, it doesn't matter why we're down. What matters is the fact that they're still getting paid as they deny services for our government employees, as well as the people who rely on the government for assistance. Now, we can sit up here and argue, hey, they should not be needing SNAP um, and all the things. They should be a Democrat. They should be a Republic. I mean, people should be what they want. This is a democracy. This is a place to where it's supposed to be the richest country in the world, although you have a lot of people who don't receive certain types of benefits. Um, with that being said, um, it's just a freaking mess. Let me just say that. Um, it's just a mess. And so, with it being a mess, it's just, oh Lord, I hope you guys can hear me. Let me make sure of that. I don't even know. Hold on one second. I'm not sure if I am on the scene, so I'm not quite sure that. excuse me. I want to make sure that you guys are getting the information that you can actually. Oh gosh, thank God. Okay, so you are there. Anyway, guys, like I said, we are talking all things government, all things food stamps. So, like I said, hey Mira, I'm going to be going live on this channel for more general topics, and so that's why we're here. Um, we're going to look at a video that Jasmine Crockett did. Now, I did an update yesterday. I'm sorry, excuse me, about the SNAP benefits, about the courts stating that the government needs to fund SNAPs from the contingency fund. That's exactly what it's for. Several $billion there. And so my understanding was that it would be funded. Now I hear that that may not be the case, that the government has made the decision that regardless to what has been said and what has been covered with the SNAP benefits, they have decided to not fund. So we don't really know where we'll end up with this situation. But what we do know is that it's a conversation that is going on. It is something that should make you think twice when it comes to the government officials that you are putting in place. It is their job to work, it's their job to make sure that we have a budget. It shouldn't even be a thing that you are allowed to not fund the government. But at any rate, we're going to jump into the conversation, guys. We're going to first go over to check out this video about SNAP, about what's going on, and the perspective from Jasmine Crockett. She did an appearance on MSNBC. So we're going to jump over here real quick and see what she had to say.
Congressman, I want to ask you, first of all, thank you for coming on. There's rumblings of discussions to reopen the government. Maybe small gangs of senators are reportedly working to find a way out. But of course, Senate Majority Leader John Thune said he won't discuss any Affordable Care Act changes until the government is open. What have you heard, and is there a possibility of any breakthrough happening soon?
You know, I am not convinced if there is a possibility of a breakthrough as relates to it coming from the top down. I think that this is going to have to be a bottom-up effort. You know, there's been a lot of discussions about how much travel has been interfered with and how many planes have had to be canceled. I think that those are the types of things, those types of disruptions, the disruptions as it relates to SNAP benefits and WIC benefits. I think that those are the rumblings of the people that will finally solve this. Unfortunately, we have people that are not prioritizing the very people that put them into power, starting with the President of the United States, who has failed to sit down with the four corners, the leaders within the House as well as the Senate, to decide that they were going to come to a resolution to make sure that we can move forward in a way that benefits not just red states, not just blue states, but benefits the United States.
I mean, there just doesn't seem to be that much of a sense of urgency from the White House or Republicans. And does that tell you that they think they can end this shutdown without capitulating, without giving in to Democrats' demands?
You know, I don't know what it says. I mean, it is very hard to say that you can predict anything when it comes to this White House, especially when it comes to this particular president. I will tell you that, you know, it seems like he's not on the same page with the Republicans. We know that here recently he basically said, hey, just go ahead and explore the nuclear option. You know, they've been trying to blame this on the Democrats the entire time, when those of us who understand how things work, they have exploited the nuclear option more than once. And I'm not suggesting that they should. I'm actually suggesting that there's two ways out. Number one, you can either explore the nuclear option, which means that we reduce the threshold from 60 down to an even 50, or you could do what.
Now, I had never heard that before, the nuclear option, which um, that's something new to me. Let me know in the comments if you guys have heard that before.
Like most real politicians would do. They would actually negotiate. And if you are willing to talk about what it is that we can do as relates to the Affordable Care Act on the back end, then why can't you talk about it on the front end? In addition to that, I do want to point out, because the House has failed to go in under the failed leadership of Johnson right now, here's the issue. We could be going through and getting through the actual appropriations bills, because the continuing resolution is only supposed to be a stopgap until we actually do our work. Well, considering the fact that we've been sitting this out, we could have been working. We could have been going through the 12 appropriations bills and getting those over to the Senate, and then we would at least potentially not even need the stopgap, or we'd be able to put different governmental departments back online because we've completed the actual appropriations. Yet Mike Johnson doesn't want to bring us back.
I also want to ask you about SNAP. Yesterday, a federal judge ordered the Trump administration to keep paying those benefits during the shutdown, but it's unclear if or even when the 42 million Americans who rely on food stamps are going to get them, and 3.5 million people in your state of Texas. So what is your response to Republicans who are saying maybe we should take another look at this program because too many Americans are on SNAP? And what are you hearing from your constituents?
Well, I will tell you this. I will agree with them on one thing. I will agree that there are too many American people that are on SNAP benefits. But that means that you got to not look necessarily at SNAP. You got to look at the reasons that they're on SNAP. We know that over 1/4 of these people that are in receipt of SNAP benefits are actually the working poor in this country, right? We have not increased the minimum wage, and I don't know when, and the minimum wage still sits at $7 while everything.
And I'm glad she said that, because a lot of people want to argue that minimum wage is 10 here, 12 here, blah, blah, blah. No, it is still at $7. I think it was there when I was working in high school. So that's one thing. Another thing is, she said a key thing, the working poor. So it is assumed, Anton Daniels, that everybody that receives SNAP benefits is a mom with multiple kids, multiple baby daddies, and just sitting at home living off the government. Sweetie, you cannot live off of food stamps. You may be able to feed your children off of them, but you definitely cannot live off of them. They cannot buy your household cleaning needs. They cannot buy personal hygiene, etc., etc. So a lot of the people that get them are actually bridging the gap, as they should. But my thing here is not to really be big on talking politics per se. The big thing that I'm just trying to do is discuss SNAP, discuss how it's affecting us and what actually is going on. Like, are we anywhere closer to just fixing what is broken, which is um, having a budget negotiated and having these people do their jobs? If they are not able to sit in an office and facilitate the job that they were hired for, one or two things: they either should not be paid, or they need to be replaced. Period, point blank. That's just how I feel.
Everything else is going up, whether we're talking about the cost of food, or whether we're talking about the cost of rent, or whether we're talking about the cost to actually try to engage in home ownership, if we're talking about the interest rates. And we know that under the failed leadership of this administration, this country has seen a loss of 1 million jobs, and that's just in the first few months. He's not even had a full year. So no, we need to work on economic policies that will put people into a position in which they are not the working poor, where they are still needing the $6 a day to eat. So yes, we need to talk about it, but I don't think that SNAP is the problem. I think that that is the resolution, or at least that is a symptom of the problem. We have a bigger problem in which we have billionaires that are continuing to rise up every single day and are getting richer and richer, to the extent that there was talk about Elon becoming a trillionaire, the first one in this country or in the world. Yet we still have people that have to go to the food bank and go to work, that have to sit there and go to make sure that they've got money on their SNAP and EBT cards. Like, that's a problem, and I do think that we need to address it.
And you mentioned it's about 30% have income, but that number goes up to 55% of SNAP users if you include families with children. I also want to ask you about another.
Now, this is way bigger. I'm gonna be honest. I'm not a politician watcher. I'm not a person that's deeply into politics. I have not educated myself in a way that I should, so I'm not going to go deep into something that I'm not knowledgeable about. What I want to talk about is SNAP benefits. When are they coming? Is it likely for them to come? Why is it okay that a government is allowed to get paid and not do the job that they were paid for? If they are not able to do their job, just like when you have a crime and the jury has a job to do, they have to stay at work until the job is done every single freaking day. These politicians for several days aren't even coming together. Like she said, somebody's not bringing them in. A certain person has to call the Senate in or call the House. Certain people control the floor. Certain people control what comes to the floor. This shit is crazy. They have created such a situation that all it is gameplay. I mean, it's a glorified um game. I mean, a video game type of thing. Is this should not be our government that controls taxes and stuff. Now, mind you, we still got to pay taxes. We still got to do all of those things, although we are not able to reap the harvest of the taxes that we pay into the government. And yes, all of us pay taxes, even the working poor.
Another huge cost right now, and that's health insurance. The Kaiser Family Foundation's estimates about 17% of your state's population did not have coverage in 2024, and more than 1 million might become uninsured if these subsidies expired. What impact do you think that will have on families in your state, and are you hearing concern across the aisle on this issue?
I am absolutely hearing concerns kind of in general, and many of those on the other side of the aisle do not want to admit it publicly. You have pretty much only really seen Marjorie Taylor Greene be honest about this and talk about the issue as relates to the number of her constituents that are going to potentially go uninsured. And when we talk about this, I want people to understand, because I feel like some people are just callous about this and they're like, this doesn't impact me. And overall, all of this is impacting you. Everyone's insurance premiums are going up because of the big ugly bill, number one. But
Another thing I want to say, because we're not going to go into all of the semantics and all of the healthcare. I know a lot of this has to do with healthcare, them wanting to get rid of the Healthcare Affordable Care Act and all of the things. The sad part about this is we've had a complete presidency with Biden, and they are still trying to dismantle the work of Obama. I don't think that people would have voted on it. I don't think it would have made it through if it was not helpful. Now, maybe how they're funding it is not helpful. I don't know. I can't really go into details, but long story short, because of something that is out of our control, we have kids that are missing meals. And that's just that simple for me. So I wanted to bring this up just to say that my understanding is that the courts state that, people are supposed to be funding, or should I say, there should be funding coming to give some of the food stamps to the recipients, but we haven't heard any updates of that. So I don't know where this is going to go. Now, there's another guy that I've heard of. I don't really watch him a lot, but his name is Brian Taylor Cohen. I don't know if you guys have heard of him, but he is another one that kind of follows things, and apparently he feels like that there may be some kind of consequences coming because of the SNAP bill. So we're going to jump over here and look at just a piece of his video to see what he has to say. I would like to cover this SNAP um, situation, and so we can see what's going to happen. I mean, it affects everybody. I get it that people think of it just food stamps to feed kids, but when those food stamps pay the grocery stores, that becomes money and revenue for those stores. That's how those stores pay their employees. That's how people are able to afford to take care of their families, and on and on and on. That's how it works. So it's not just about them. This affects everybody. And even if you're not at the top, when that poop starts rolling downhill, eventually it's going to hit you right on your head. So you definitely need to pay attention to what's going on with this SNAP situation. Also, tomorrow on my main channel, um, a we're going to do a on my community wall, I'm going to put up a post for those who may or may not receive SNAP. And those of you who can afford to maybe donate $10, $20, it's similar to something that Funky Dineva seen it. As a matter of fact, that's where I got the idea from. Shout out to you, Funky. Yeah, I'm hoping that we can help a few people. I know I'm a very small channel compared to his 400,000, but I just want to make an effort. Um, if I were the person sitting there unable to feed my kids, I would want someone to care enough to make that same effort for me. So I'm just trying to be positive in whatever way that I can. So I'm going to jump over here to this video. We're going to watch just a bit of it as it relates to what we're talking about, and then we'll kind of conclude the video.
CEO of Democracy Forward, Skye Perryman. Skye, thanks so much for joining me.
Great to be here.
So Donald Trump has made some news this election day by posting a Truth Social saying, in effect, that he is going to withhold SNAP benefits as leverage to be able to try and force some end to the government shutdown. So he's basically using food assistance as a way to make sure that he can reopen the government and take people's health care away. So first and foremost, what are you doing in response to this?
Well, we're the ones that are representing at Democracy Forward. We are representing so many clients on a case that secured a court order that made it clear that the president could not deprive people of their SNAP benefits. And so that was the court order that came out on Friday, and then a written order over the weekend. But now we're making sure the court has this information in hand of what the president has said to ensure that the court's order is enforced. And so we're back in court. Our team is back in court today.
To what extent?
So that's what we needed to hear. Not only has the court said something, but this Skye Perryman, which I'm not quite sure who she is, I'm assuming that either she is an attorney with the state, or should I say the country, or something. But anyway, they are trying to make sure that the court orders are followed, and that's what's important. We have a president that feels that he can control the country in almost like a dictatorship type of situation, and that's not what we are. And so I don't know if they will learn from this and make sure that anybody elected from this point forward um, has the ability to actually lead a country and has the maturity to speak for everybody. So I'm hoping that that's something that they look at. But the important thing, and this is what I wanted to make sure of, that somebody is trying to make sure that what is done is being handled appropriately.
Extent does this new post on Truth Social, does that impact the ongoing litigation? Like you see this, and what's your initial thought as it relates to these ongoing cases?
Well, as it relates to the cases, it's clear, the president doesn't get to ignore what the court said, and the court made it very clear that the benefits had to be paid, and they needed to be paid expeditiously, because when you were talking about people's ability to access essential nutrition, this is not something that can wait while the administration drags its feet. And so it's important that we take these things and make sure that the court has them in hand. So we're going to handle that in the courtroom. What it means, though, for people that are reaching out to us and for the American people is that the president is owning the fact that he is making a choice right now to use people's lives as a political pawn. I mean, that is what he is doing. He is weaponizing people's access to basic nutrition and food in order to try to score political points. And that is unacceptable. We believe it is immoral, which is not a word we use all the time at Democracy Forward, but we believe it is completely morally reprehensible. And then, of course, we know it's unlawful because the court has already found that.
Does this undermine any existing arguments that the Trump team is making in court?
I think it, I think it might, and I think that's why you've seen the White House press secretary, as I understand it, has already been out trying to do some damage control right after he tweeted it, trying to say that they will comply with the order. What we want to make sure of is that the 42 million people in this country, many of whom are children, many of whom are working people, senior citizens, and veterans, that those 42 million people get the essential nutrition that Congress has made clear they should unequivocally get, even in times of a shutdown. And so that's what we are just laser focused on.
I want to throw a clip of Mike Johnson from today right up here on the screen.
People everywhere can see clearly who's fighting and voting here every day and delivering for them. And I'll say this clearly to every hardworking American in any place who's missed a paycheck, anyone who has been made to suffer because the services, the health services you rely upon, or the food and nutrition supplement for your family, anyone who is hurting, you have a home in the Republican Party. You have people here who are elected by their constituents to come and do their job, and they do it. They're voting to support you, to make these programs available, to ensure that the people in need have them. And the Democrats, by stark contrast, are doing the exact opposite.
So can I?
Okay, so he's saying that they are not. Now, if you don't agree with someone that you are on a panel with, which I'm going to say like the Congress, just because you don't agree with them does not mean you're not doing your job. So the thing is, why don't these people understand that it ain't it's not a situation to where I'm gonna get what I want or I'm gonna stall y'all out. That's not how a democracy works. They have to find a common ground and make it work. So I'm gonna go ahead and end there as far as this video is concerned. The important elements that I wanted us to discuss today was, are the stamps coming? Period, point blank. Are they coming? According to what she said, they are in court, and they are trying to make it happen. So that's what we're relying on. That's what I wanted to find out. And that's apparently what is going on. So hopefully everything happens the way it should, and we see some quick turnaround when it comes to this situation. So guys, let me know in the comments what you think about this. How long do you think it's going to take them to go ahead and fund at least the food stamp contingency, which I'm told is about 50% of the your normal amount is what you should get this month until this situation is resolved. Now the question is, once they resolve this, do people get their back stamps? How does that work? And what about the people who have been furloughed? It's different to be at work as an essential employee, hoping that at some point you get paid, which is crazy because these are people needing to go to work. These are people who need to pay gas, who need to pay rent, all of the things. Everybody doesn't live paycheck to paycheck. Everybody is not poor, but you know, that really puts you in a compromised position on where things stand when it comes to you trying to figure out what you should do in a situation like this. You only have so much money, so you just have to do what you have to do. But anyway, guys, I wanted to talk about this. I wanted us to find out what's going on as far as making sure that stamps are coming. So, We've heard that they are. We've heard that there are people in place not only that have taken this to court, but they are also working hard to make sure that the rules governed by the court is being followed. So hopefully we'll have an update on that. Stay tuned to this channel. We will continue to follow this and other things. Like I said, I do have a main channel, Just Me CMB, where I do commentary that's primarily focused around mothers. So on this channel, we will definitely continue doing commentary, but it'll be more general focus subjects in situations like this. So if you have not already hit the like button and subscribed, please do so. Also, share the channel if you care. Help us grow over here as well. I thank you guys so very much for taking the time to be here. Please let me know in the comments where you're from. Also, if you know anybody who would be interested in this kind of commentary, please share the channel with them. Thank you so very much. I will see you guys in the next one. Bye for now.
She said, take your time, what's the rush? I said, baby, I'm a dog, I'm a mutt. She said, take your time, what's the rush? I said, baby, I'm a dog, I'm a mutt. I'm a dog, I'm a mutt. I get smoked already, so hard in my blunt is. I see past pretty faces, so I got trouble trusting.